Мы рады приветствовать.
We're happy to welcome you to our new session. Today we are going to talk about women leadership in technology and innovations. And actually we have real women here, experts in their areas. So
Меня зовут Александра.
my name is Alexander Rubich. I am head of the women community in Rosatom and member of the Eurasian Women Forum.
С нашими партнерами.
We discuss a lot with our partners. We talk about professional participation of women, and we see that the situation is improving more and more. Women are going technical. They want to choose something technical as their career. And we saw a lot of great professionals and experts, and we see that there's a lot of appetite for that. So we need to support this initiative. We also talk a lot about partnership, equal partnership, right kind of partnership must be observed everywhere, and our agenda must be the environment where we discuss best practices, business, and new initiatives that we can implement together. We have a lot of participants here, and I think we all agree that it is important for women to be part of technical agenda and technological agenda, economy, and many other areas, because it is directly linked to GDP growth. There was a research made with women in business and management, economic justification of changes, and 13,000 plus entities participated in this research, and gender diversity helps improve business results. 3/4 of companies that have gender diversity have increased their profit a great deal. And experts say that actually if women are in high tech, it means stability in innovations and improves economic growth. So today, here with me, I have representatives from the scientific community, representatives of high-tech companies from Russia, Indonesia, Tajikistan, Egypt, Serbia, and we have partners from other countries here in the room today with us. So I'm convinced that best practices, projects, initiatives that we are going to talk about later today will create the environment for favorable exchange of ideas, thoughts, experience, knowledge that can be later applicable in many countries. We'll talk about different achievements, and we'll talk about stereotypes, barriers, obstacles, challenges that are still there for women. It's also very important that presently women's gender is supported by big companies. And for welcome address, I would like to give floor to Tatiana Terentieva, Deputy Director General, HR, Nuclear Energy Agency. And we, as the women community, thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our international cooperation, and hopefully our colleagues from other countries will say a few words about that later. So, Tatiana, over to you. Alexander, thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon to colleagues, friends. So, indeed, women in business, women in high tech is becoming more and more relevant because women are active participants of economy, and we think that the potential is unbelievable. So one of our goals is to create more opportunities so that women leaders could seize the opportunity and be successful, because women are more flexible. They're team workers, they're team players. They know how to create a special environment in the team, in the company. And I think that the skills that women possess are of utmost importance in this fragile world. And I'm convinced that the share of women in different industries, in high tech in particular, in nuclear industry, will be expanding. There are a couple of things that I wanted to tell you about. In Rosatom, there are 35% of women on average around the globe. If you look at the nuclear industry, on average is 26%, and 25% that's women in top management. And the main focus for the last 5 years, thanks to our community, is gaining the pace, and we can actually see how the world is changing, how the situation is changing in our organizations, in our companies. And I'd like to point out that our community has expanded. Now we have 3,000 plus members. We are present in many regions, and our ambassadors are working in 20 plus countries in Africa, in Asia. And we see that there's a special kind of interest to exchange of best practices. We have mentoring sessions and special professional sessions for young women. When we see that young people are getting more and more interested in science and high tech, and in science we have 38% of women, which is great. And we can see how popular mentoring sessions are, because we see that the exchange is taking place. There are webinars, because digital technology gives us a chance to do this promptly, and it's not costly, and we can do a lot of things. We can accumulate best practices. So we see that there's a lot of appetite for that. That's why we've launched our project Invisible Power. It's a leadership program. We had 40 graduates in first year, and the program proves to be really interesting and efficient. This year we have 1,500 participants of this program, and we've already agreed with our colleagues that we'd be happy to share our experience and tell you more about this program. And I'm sure that many more will wish to join us, because it's a good example of a woman role model. And I would like to say a few words about the importance of work that has been done globally by Rosatom. Ms. Bikulova is in charge. She's here today with us, and she is working on some of our projects. And there's an international team working on gender balance. They are in charge of common rules for nuclear industry. And I think that this is an important document that is almost done, it's almost ready, and it will soon be published. Well, actually, I can talk about this for hours on end, but we are going to have a lot of interesting speakers and sessions. Sama Bilbao is here today with us, head of our global nuclear organization. Thank you for being here with us. I'm sure that you will have something to share your experience, and I would like to wish all of you bright, interesting discussion. And I wish all of us future interesting initiatives and projects. Tatiana, thank you so much. I think that we already have the cozy environment that we wanted, because it's all about women leadership, it's about happiness. We spoke a lot about happiness. So, Tatiana, would love for you to stay here with us, but we know that you have to go Thank you for the inspiring start of our wonderful session. Thank you. So apart from our participants here in the room, we have speakers online. So could we see them on the screen, please? Raquel Reddy, Head of Leadership Development Program from the Global Nuclear University. Raquel, hi, can you hear us? Can you see us?
Hi, yes, I can see you. Can you hear me well?
Ракель, вы имеете достаточно
Yes, Raquel, I know that you are very experienced in promoting women leadership. So do tell, what are your principles when we talk about interest of women, and what are the goals of your organization in this context?
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure to be part of this important discussion. And we know, I mean, it's a very crucial subject when we're talking about delivering clean energy and creating a future together. We cannot discard the importance of inclusion and diversity in a sustainable world. So we know that women continue underrepresented in the STEM workforce and in the energy workforce. And mostly this happens in leadership positions. So as an organization, in World Nuclear Association and through the work of World Nuclear University, we champion for diversity. And we do this through the development of programs and leadership development programs and leadership enhancement programs, where we inspire, empower, and connect thousands of leaders to drive the positive changes and drive a more equitable and inclusive workforce in their organizations and the whole industry. We make sure that our leaders understand that leadership is both personal aspects, community aspects, and systemic aspects, and we aim to connect these through the whole differences that the world has. So this is one of the most important aspects that we do in terms of leadership, and we obviously consider the great barriers and systemic differences that women and diversity, people in diversities have faced until now, and they continue to face. So today, I want to focus a little bit more on the ways women have continued to break barriers, shatter stereotypes, and enrich the collective knowledge of the industry and driving innovation. We know that within the global nuclear industry, women have played a pivotal role in shaping the trajectory since its beginning. And now they continue pioneering research and development to ensuring operational performance excellence and directing international organizations. Every day, women within the industry demonstrate their expertise, resilience, and leadership capabilities. So it is very important that we continue to champion for diversity. We, at World Nuclear Association, recognize that diversity is not only a necessary moral imperative, but also a proven and a strategic advantage to drive this innovation, creativity, and performance. As you very well mentioned in your introduction, Alexandra and Tatiana as well, we know that inclusion and diversity are great drivers of sustainable development. So within our own ranks, we have implemented strategies to increase women's representation at all levels, including leadership positions, and we've seen the great benefits of doing that. We aim to create a workplace where individuals, regardless of their genders, ethnicity, or backgrounds, can thrive and succeed. So as you see, we ourselves experience the benefits of these strategies and work. So what we want to do is export these to other organizations and encourage every organization in the industry and every woman looking to get part of the industry to take on their own leadership journey and enact on it, so they can be part of the positive change that the industry needs. So with these thoughts, I would like to close my intervention and wish you a great discussion today. I mean, you have a great set of panelists, and I'm sure they will contribute with great insights into this discussion. And I encourage everyone to share their experiences, challenge and the best practice you have encountered, and collectively explore for strategies so we can all advance in gender diversity and inclusion within the industry.
Ракель, я благодарю
Raquel, thank you so much.
мнение.
Thank you for sharing your opinion and view on women leadership. And indeed, today we have a lot of panelists, interesting speakers, and it makes it even more interesting because we have a global dialogue. We can talk about women leadership in high tech on the one hand. On the other hand, we can explore different areas where we can do much more together. It may be inclusion of and involving young people in STEM or implementation of corporate programs for women, international programs. And today, Tatiana Terentьева, in her introduction, in her address, already said that Rosatom is doing a lot. They are undertaking a number of steps towards sustainable development, and they want to maintain the gender balance. So I would like to give floor to Gulnara Bikulova, our next speaker. She is from the International Academy of Rosatom. So Gulnara, could you please share what are the key initiatives? Because earlier today we learned that there are several. And we as a community, we realize that there are plenty of opportunities that Rosatom has to offer to their employees and to people living in regions of Rosatom's presence. So what are the key projects and how gender balance is maintained? And what are the global opportunities? Alexander, thank you so much. I'm really happy to see you all here, and I see graduates of our programs. And I see my colleagues here. Really happy to be here to see you all. Well, allow me to share key initiatives that we have, because when we talk about gender balance, well, we've been trying to be really cautious. And Rosatom does everything thoroughly. We have 400 different organizations in our organization. So we have to be thorough, we have to be cautious. And I'd say that this event, this opportunity to share our experience and knowledge with colleagues from different countries, this kind of approach is something that we've been enjoying for a long time in Rosatom. When we've started doing that about 5 years ago, honestly, we didn't know what the issue was. What was wrong? Because we thought that actually the numbers looked pretty good. And we had quite a number of women in our industry. We have a lot of women leaders. And as compared to other countries, we had women in science, in high tech, and indeed, we've been trying to understand what is the problem. And actually, what helped us was our team, OECD colleagues, and there was a research. They looked into 30 countries. So we've investigated what the obstacles and issues were. So here's what we found out. Well, indeed, it is more difficult for women to work and live and exist in nuclear industry. And these barriers exist everywhere. Barrier number one, family and work balance. Barrier number two, women don't have enough instruments for unofficial growth and interaction. Barrier number three, difference in salaries, the pay gap, what we call it. Well, we have that too in some cases. So we started investigating, trying to understand what are we dealing with, and we've decided to approach a system kind of approach. So the first step was that we took all our documents, HR strategies, and we made sure that on the level of declarations and standards, we have equality stipulated everywhere. And then we started changing the culture. and perhaps colleagues working in Rosatom haven't noticed that. But if you look at the advertisement for students and we invite them to come to work in Rosatom, we always try to maintain gender balance. So girls in this industry, in Rosatom, show that there are opportunities for everyone. So we try to maintain this gender balance. And actually, I have quite a number of examples.
Then we have analyzed why it's hard to maintain work-life balance for women, and this is a social problem. We started analyzing it in our social blog. We thought about what social support might be in demand in the regions where Rosatom operates, and we introduced a lot of changes as a result for women to maintain this family and work balance. As Tatiana Anatolievna mentioned, we learn a lot and we interact a lot with our international partners. We have several working groups internationally, one in IAA, and Tatiana Anatolievna mentioned that we are preparing a technical document in maintaining gender balance in nuclear sector. Many countries work on this document. We think that it'll be a very useful document. Apart from recommendations on how in various companies, organizations, how to promote gender balance and foster gender balance, it also contains a part with a section with cases. Every country can share its practices because practices are quite efficient, and we need to know about them. From the Russian side, we shared our practice in working with children. We have a very well-developed ecosystem working with colleges, schools, universities, and colleagues from other countries. We are sharing how we involve girls and boys into the nuclear sector. I hope that it'll be useful. So Unseen Power program, also mentioned here before. This program, I would like to touch upon it, and we want to welcome everyone in this program. We identified that problems with discrimination of girls sometimes occur because there are cultural stereotypes that are articulated during childhood. We have prominent female leaders, and for them it was hard to build their careers, but they think that it's okay if you are building your career, you have to work hard. But the world is changing, and the girls that are now joining the nuclear industry, probably the situation is easier for them. They can use the experience of previous generations, and they can build their careers faster. So our program called Unseen Power helps colleagues to see their strengths, to articulate their leadership strategy. And of course, this is very important. We should not copy each other. Every one of us has its own style of leadership and management. If you do things that are comfortable for you and you base your careers on your strengths, it will be easier for you to build your career. We monitor 1,500 colleagues in Rosatom who went through this program last year, and we hope that this program will help more of our colleagues to choose managing careers, leading careers. And another point, I would like to announce the initiative we announced in IAEA conference. Sama spoke at that event the 8th of March. So at this event, we announced that in summer, late June, we plan to open a summer school for girls in the city of Obninsk. Late June, Obninsk is having a huge anniversary, 70 years from the commissioning of the first nuclear power station in the world. So we call this day the Day of Nuclear Power. And within the framework of our celebrating events, we will have STEM summer school for girls. So we will offer technical subjects, and we will offer an overview. We will speak about nuclear technologies in general, not only nuclear power, but medicine and quantum communications. We will also have a block on leadership and tech tours to the facilities of nuclear sector. We invite all ladies who want to build their careers in the nuclear sector to participate in this program. Rosatom is allocating internships and stipends to participate in this program. We see much interest towards our program. We announced this program on the 8th of March. Around 80 applications have come already, and we see that girls are interested in getting deeper into nuclear technologies. So, colleagues, you're all invited. Please spread the information about the school in your countries. We'll be happy to see young, talented girls in our school. So I think I will stop with it. I can tell you a lot more other things, but I would say that gender balance and equality of opportunities calls for a systemic approach, and it is very important to share experience because all countries face the same theme and meet challenges and accumulate experience that can be useful for other countries. So please, let's communicate and develop Rosatom, I mean the nuclear industry and the opportunities in the nuclear opportunities, and offer opportunities for as many talented girls as possible. Thank you very much, Gulnara.
Конечно,
Indeed, the task of increasing the percentage of ladies in the power sector, in tech sectors, is relevant in many countries, in all countries. In many countries, as it is the case in Russia, they adopted national strategies. In Russia, it is the national strategy acting in the interests of women. And one of the key tasks is working in involving young ladies, women, into tech sphere, scientific sphere, innovation sphere. So let's speak about what's left to be done in the companies where there are enough initiatives and projects already operating in the interest of women. So the next speaker is Elsie Pooley, Director on HR ESCOM. Ms. Pooley is the key person in enhancing rights and opportunities for professional women in South African power electricity sector, and an example, a role model for millions of girls and ladies in Africa. Elsie, we know that under your leadership in ESCOM group of companies, which is generating around 40% of electricity in the whole African continent, we see drop in difference in salaries between male and female specialists. And this became possible thanks to the corporate program. Could you please tell us about how the idea emerged to implement such corporate program, what results you have today, and what is your next step to ensure policy in the interests of women for it to be successful both in your company and to be promoted in the countries of the African continent?
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity. Just to create some context, so in South Africa, in 1956, about 20,000 women organized themselves without cell phones, and they went to parliament and they challenged apartheid. And I always joke to say, whilst the men were still thinking about how they're going to do this, the women took it upon themselves with babies on their backs, and they walked and they went to Parliament and they challenged. So in terms of women advancement in South Africa, it has been a long journey. Around 2000 in our organization, we started deliberately and intentionally focusing on the advancement of women. So when you're doing recruitment, people would easily say, no, there are no women, we can't find women. So we were all comfortable leaders, male and female, to just appoint the men who were there. So we went around the country and we recruited about 90 people, and 90 women who had a math and science qualification. We partnered with Warwick University, and we co-created a program which was more biased to power generation, distribution, and transmission, and added some few MBA modules to also enable the women to be able to manage businesses. So we then trained the 90 women. When they finished, we deliberately appointed them into key roles, and we made sure that we're not going to focus on enabling roles like your HR, finance, etc. We focused on appointing them as power station managers and so on. So in 2013, we then realized that what we've been doing, we've been focusing on numbers. So we've been getting women in, but the women were not staying. So you had this like sort of churning kind of environment where women came in and left. And every time we're just ticking the box. We've got so many women. And I mean, when you were discussing issues around gender, they would say, but what's wrong? And Nara was saying that earlier, to say, what's wrong? We've got, the women are here. But the women were here, but they were not impacting. So it was not about the quality of the women you bring in and the quality of decisions, or also positioning them for key roles that really were impactful in the company. So we then established in 2023 what we call the Eskom Women Advancement Program. And the focus was now we wanted to focus on breaking the mold. We wanted to break the mold, focus on those perceptions that both men and women held that led to women not being impactful in the organization, and it also led to the misrepresentation of women in the organization. But we also realized that at the time, there was no way we are going to do this if we don't also work on our male colleagues. So it was very important because the majority of the decision makers were male. So usually when you have got this kind of engagements, we end up with a room like this. I mean, I see about 3, 4 males in the room. We find as women, we continue to talk to ourselves. And you end up in the spiral of, we want a seat at the table, we want to be empowered, we want. So what we wanted to do with the Women Advancement Program, we decided that this is going to be a platform, it's going to be a movement where we are very deliberate and intentional in terms of what we wanted to do. So we didn't totally discard the numbers. It was important that we've got the numbers. So we were very clear that we will bring in women, we'll make sure that they are qualified, they are experienced. If they're not experienced, we will be deliberate around mentorship and exposing them such that they can get into the roles and be ready to deliver. So we focus on women in leadership. The other focus was women in technical roles. We focused on women in nuclear. We focused on creating a conducive working environment. We looked at our policies to ensure that they were gender friendly. We also looked at partnerships to then say, how can we partner with other organizations or like-minded organizations to make sure that we don't create a great woman at Eskom, but we create great women globally. So 10 years down the line, we focused on a number of things, and we were very deliberate. So in 2016, we promoted 40 women at a go to the senior management level. And I remember a lot of our colleagues saying, are you sure you are not rubber stamping? Are you sure these are the right women? And I had worked in Eskom for just under 30 years. And I was saying to my male colleagues, some of you I've interviewed before, and I remember when I interviewed you, you were not ready for that job. So you had not done it before. So you find a lot of leaders say, no, they're not ready. You can't be ready. You can't be competent for a job you haven't done. So organizations have to be very, very deliberate to then say, what is it that we need to do to make sure that we enable you to be able to hit the road running when you get into the role? So mentorship is like key. So as part of the Eskom Women Advancement Program, our mentors are not only in the company. We also have got mentors that we call Friends of EWAP. Those are the women who came before us, who are captains of industry, that we also contract them in, and they're doing it for free because they understand that they need to make sure that they're part of the change in the country. So that becomes critical. What's also critical is that when you look at our qualification profile at Eskom, our women are very educated. So what we're trying to tell the organization is that organizations are really comfortable sending women to school and you don't have to see them. And then we can do our things here. So we're saying you can learn much better on the job. So for the majority of the time as women, we have to be here. to be able to be impactful and learn what we need to do. So you don't get to go to school and be overly qualified to come back. You find that there's not even a fit in terms of the roles that you need to do. So one other area we also looked at the pay gaps in terms of the women and men in the organization. When we started, we had about 20% like sort of income differentials in terms of gender. And today we have resolved them. We are sitting at about 6%. We have an aspiration that by 2026, we would not have income differentials in terms of gender. We also started targeting young women in nuclear. So we recruited in 2016. They were asking for 80 new vacancies. We gave them hundreds. And our intention was that we didn't want to complain that there are no people. So we gave them 100. Of the 100, we made sure that 40 of them were females. And currently, we have an abundance of licensed nuclear operators at Quebec due to the interventions. In terms of your operators, your technicians, we also made sure that we have targets and we've met them. So if you look at our managerial levels, at Eskom currently, we've got about 33% women out of the 40,000 employees. But at top management, we have achieved 40%. At senior management, we've achieved 40%. And we endeavor to achieve 46% by 2026 and 50% at all occupational levels by 2030. And we drive that, and we don't apologize to do that. In terms of ensuring that we create a conducive work environment, we've implemented the hybrid work model, particularly for younger women who are also parents. We've also recently launched what we call mothers' rooms. We didn't want to call them lactation rooms because we didn't believe we are cows. So we also want to make sure that every part of our organization, there's a comfortable room where lactating mothers can go to and make sure that they are comfortable instead of using the bathrooms and so on. We have also addressed the issue of protective clothing. I don't know if you know that some of the original material that was used for protective clothing doesn't go very well with lace underwear. I don't know if you knew that. So women would just sort of go through their day-to-day, not complaining and so on. So we started influencing the procurement of protective clothing for women. We also looked at particularly that our women, particularly in the distribution space, they work in remote areas. We also created what we called My Sister's Keeper, to make sure that when women go out at night, they also have partnered with somebody else instead of going out alone. So from a partnership perspective, we have worked with a lot of organizations to advance our women. We have got our women being trained and developed in Japan, in China, in Korea, and now we have partnered with Rosatom. We'll be having a few of our women here also as part of our development programs. So we currently want to focus now as we move forward, because one of the issues that I've seen around the perceptions is that the environment seems to force you to say, why are you not looking at diversity inclusion collectively instead of women advancement programs? So in Eskom, we don't apologize. We drive diversity and inclusion. But when we drive the women advancement, we are not going to dilute it with anything else. We want to be very deliberate to understand that our focus is about making sure that the women who are here, no one has done them the favor, no one is imposting. They are here because they are competent and they can make an impact. Thank you.
Elsie, thank you very much for your amazing work that you've done in your organization. We now see the motivation for increasing the indicators. Your figures are very ambitious. Experts from our panel, I'm sure, will say that your figures and goals are really ambitious. I just wanted to comment on the following. You said at the beginning that we are discussing women's leadership in the focus group consisting only of women, and it is not in line with inclusive environment. But actually, our female community. We have initiative groups, as Tatiana Anatolyevna mentioned. They operate in various countries, and just recently we have a first male ambassador in Kyrgyzstan. He is operating, and we have experts from this country today. So now we're going to Egypt, and I would like to introduce you our next speaker, Sahir Kora, Africa Women in Nuclear Association, professor of Egyptian Office for Nuclear Energy. This association consists of local communities from 16 countries of the African continent, and I would like to ask Cora to speak about. So let's look at how we can fight against prejudices. We do a lot, we work a lot, but there are prejudices that prevent women from being promoted to leading roles in tech companies.
And actually, what are these strategies that we can implement to create the inclusive environment that we are talking about today? So, Cora, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. I thank Rosatom and I thank Women in Nuclear Russia for inviting me to come to this session or to come to this Atom Expo. I would like to say something that there are three parts where we can protect against gender balance. It's one role is for the country, another for the company, and the third is for the person herself. Starting with the country, well, in our African countries and in Egypt, I am proud to say that according to the law, women and men are of equal rights in their salaries, in their political roles, and so on. And in Egypt, we have education free from kindergarten up to secondary school, and most people are educated. So working in nuclear, there is no problem. Women have earned their PhDs, and some women became head of or chairman of the Egyptian Atomic Energy Society and chairman of many sectors, but their numbers are lower. But this goes for many things, including that they have a role as mothers. They have families. Sometimes they take care of their parents. So this decrease in number, the country has nothing to do about it. Second thing is the company itself. We can see that some companies, well, in African countries, and there is no problem, I think, in salaries between men and women. But the problem is that most African countries have earned their independence in the last decades, and not everybody is educated because there is a shortage of schools in African countries. So there must be an increase in African countries in the schools, especially for girls, and we must encourage girls to work in the nuclear sector. We can make them responsible for themselves, make them quite understand that their opportunity to have a better life, a better financial status is to work in nuclear. We have also to show them that they are not to fear working in nuclear. In the environment, there are thousands of environmental pollutants. The best studied and the best confined in a workplace is radiation. The protective measures in any nuclear facility is quite restricted. Also, there is what is said that women go to verbal education and men go to mathematics, and that the cognitive spatial function of men is better than women. This can be related to the way you elevate your daughter. Look at the toy you bring to your boy, and look at the toy you bring to your daughter. You bring her makeup, you bring her sewing, and at the same time you give your boy building blocks and gardening and so on. This hinders the developing her special cognitive function. So you have to take care of the toys you give to the daughters, and also it has to be known that the brain is a remarkable organ, and it can practice and exercise and experience anything and update itself. Then there's something also important that sometimes there is jealousy and gender bias at the working place. Any woman must understand quite well that life is not a fairy tale, and even men sometimes they face problems because they are active and they work hard. So the only way to do is to keep away from those who are hindering your progress and work. They just keep in mind they want to hinder you. They don't want you to progress. So challenge them and work more harder and prove yourself. And also for those who are jealous, jealousy is a double-edged sword, and it will hurt you. Instead of being jealous and instead of hindering others' progress, work harder and prove yourself. And also something else I would like to say, that as long as you work hard, nobody can stop you. Thank you very much.
Cora, thank you so much. Thank you indeed. Those stereotypes that you mentioned in confidence and other things, they are there. We can see that too in some projects, and we really want to see a different kind of situation. Every time we meet, we talk to each other, we see the difference, because there are a lot of historical personalities, women in history, quite successful, and we want to create the environment where we have less barriers, less problems such as this. So let's talk about professional aspect, and I'm happy to give floor to our next speaker, Girinir Sunaria, head of the Women Potential Development Nucleus Society, and Kenya is a member of the International Council, and this is a very interesting council, 11 member countries, and it was founded upon the initiative of our community, and together we are working on a document with best country practices, and we have 4 working groups for women, for young people in STEM, corporate programs, and support for social and business projects that women are involved in to create the harmonious environment. So, Kenny, I have a question for you. At the moment, what is the most complex problem in Indonesia when it gets to construction of nuclear power plants, and how women are involved in search for the proper solution in this?
Thank you so much, Alexandra. And good afternoon, ladies. My name is Geni, and I'm from Indonesia. Maybe Alexandra already introduced about me. Then at this occasion, I want to I want to describe about the empowering women leaders in high technology and nuclear energy development for sustainable innovation, especially for a pathway to net zero carbon emissions in Indonesia. Next, please.
Помогите нам, пожалуйста, в переключении слайдов.
Okay, this is my CV. I graduated from the University of Tokyo a long time ago, 94, and I started working at Indonesian Nuclear Energy on 85, and I ever be the director of the Center for Nuclear Reactor Safety and Technology. We call it Batan until 2020, and then I returned back because of my age, already 60, more than 60. So I'm back to be a professional researcher on on Batan. And then because of a big change organization, so Batan is be transferred as a National Research and Innovation brain. And now I'm also active as a leader in the nuclear woman development under the Indonesia Nuclear Society, especially. And then I also do some freelance writer, IAEA expert, and etc. And also Alexandra asked me to be a group leader on girls in STEM, so it will be another duty for me and push me. Next, yeah. I want to tell you about the status of the we know I'm not talking about the woman equality anymore. I want to talk about the woman diversity, of course. Women's roles in technology leadership are expanding now. As you know, not only in technology, but women can hold promoting overall business success. So we are holding a very important one. And as the news, we know that 33% overall female representation has increased 2% from 19 up to 22. So this is a good news, I think, for us. And the leadership roles held by women, these firms are expected to rise approximately 25% now. Yeah. And working nearly 20% growth in their proportion within a leadership. So the percentage is getting higher and higher. This is a good one. Next, please. Yeah, and one of the study from the Peterson Institute, they say if the woman hold the leader at the company or something like that, they say they can have a profit 15% increase. So this is something which is coming from the woman. So woman can see something that men cannot see. So they can introduce some new organization culture to their organization. That's why they can increase the profit. This is good news. And then woman leadership also can make strides of fostering innovation because of that. So they can have or introduce a very good environment for working among the women and men in the company. And then one of the women innovators, Maria Costa Cheta, also has demonstrated that she already addressed gender and talent gaps in technology by upskilling underemployed women. And it's already demonstrated that the transformation power of female leadership is fostering inclusively and driving progress. One that I want to say is the encouraging and supporting women in technology and leadership is essential one for continued innovation, diversity of thoughts, and then overall industry growth. Next, please. So for that one, Indonesian Nuclear Society, we already induced some weekly webinars. So we invite speakers, women and men, of course, to introduce the technology, especially because we are a nuclear, introduce the nuclear technology, and others, of course, under the STEM, to make the public understand about what is nuclear. So we don't have to afraid anymore about the nuclear. So on that webinar, we discuss a distinctive contribution and perspective of technology women leaders in Indonesia technology sector and emphasize the positive effect of the gender diversity in fostering the inclusive organization culture, etc. Next, please. And then I want to give you some illustration because of the net zero emission carbon, and it is related with the moment that Indonesia already committed for achieving the net zero emission carbon in 2060. So it gives the consequences that on 2060, we have to build nuclear among the 35 up to 42 gigawatt. You can imagine in This one. If we build the nuclear by the SMR technology, it would be around 90 units maybe on 2060. This is a very huge number, and then you can imagine we have to have the big effort. Why? Because we have to face down the coal power, which is already contributes 60% of the Indonesia energy. This is not a very easy one to facing down the coal power by others, renewable and new energy such as nuclear. So we are facing also the challenges. And this time I want to talk about the three aspects or parameters about what we are facing. The first one is international collaboration for net zero emissions. And then second one, project financing, and then the public understanding of nuclear. So international collaboration is very important one, because net zero emission carbon is a collective responsibility, not only Indonesia as the developing country, but of course the developed countries such as Russia, United States, etc., that have a very high technology and already have the huge number of the NPP and industry. Of course, I think they are the main country that contributes the high emission carbon, not the developing country. So that's why we have to hands to hand with the developing country and the developed country to achieve the green world for achieving the net zero emission carbon, so we can live a long life. So this is the important one, to do some international collaboration for net zero emission achievement. Such a partnerships, of course, are essential to enhance developing countries such as Indonesia to implement new and renewable energy, as I mentioned before, to achieve net zero emission carbon, reflecting a commitment of global climate agreement and sustainable development. And the next one is, please help me. Project financing also holds a very essential one, or important one, because find the effective financing mechanism is for nuclear power plant is very important to be robust due to the high initial cost of construction. It is very expensive one, since safety standard and then long lead times before they become operational. I saw the Akuyu, it is very amazing one. Then unfortunately, Indonesia doesn't have a system of BOO like Akuyu. So we have to break down or to find a very proper financing project for our NPP. Of course, moreover, having transparency on financing framework with accountability check can help mitigate the risk of corruption. We know that Indonesia also, we cannot avoid the corruption problem in Indonesia, especially recently the corruption level is getting higher and higher. So if we want to construct the NPP, we have really have to be transparent on the financing project. Next, please. And then the last one is the enhancing public understanding of nuclear energy. This is very important one, because the public acceptance holds the important one, whether they agree to build the NPP or not. We already have 50 years to build the NPP still, and then still we are not success, because one of them is of the public acceptance. Yeah, because the public acceptance is really background by the financial, trading competition. Yeah, trading competition, which is induced to the political decision. So how to make the public understand about the nuclear technology is very important one. That's why we, from the Indonesia Nuclear Society, has already induced to disseminate the nuclear technology by weekly webinars. And based on the MOU with the WIN Russia, we already have some speaker coming from the Russia to disseminate that the nuclear technology to our public, through the webinar. And that webinar always assess by the participants number around 200 until 400 participants. So 1.5 hours of webinars with the huge participants. It is very effective one. Around among the Indonesia, Indonesia is very huge one. Assess and to understand how is the nuclear power plant. And then from the role of this public sectors also will contributing to more informed decision making at all levels. And then women can play a very, very important role because women has a very special how to communicate, how to disseminate the nuclear, the NPP technology to the public. And we can imagine that at 2032 up to 2060, the one who will be actively operating NPP in Indonesia is now still in the elementary school. That's why we have to be strong to and never give up to disseminate the nuclear energy to the public. Next, please. Yeah, this is our program. This is only to illustrate. We already conducted webinars, every week. And then recently we want to induce some women in STEM mentoring circle. This is the one that we are going to implement because Alexandra already gave me a duty to girls in STEM. So we introduced the Women in STEM mentoring circle, and we hope that the Windrusia also can support us to give some supporting maybe the technology transfer or something like that. So weekly webinars and by Zoom and YouTube is a very effective one for us to disseminate our nuclear technology. Next, please. Yeah, the conclusion is empowering women leaders in high technology and nuclear energy development for sustainable innovation is very important and should be implemented because women play a critical role in advising sustainable innovation in the technology and nuclear energy industry, focusing on environmentally friendly practices and use of clean, safe energy. And women ensure that innovations are accessible to all, aiming to create a more sustainable future. Thank you very much for your participation.
Kenny, on behalf of our female community, I would like to say thank you very much for this basis of our cooperation, especially working within the framework of the International Council and STEM areas, knowledge accumulation for girls. And let's look at the initiatives on the level of countries for female public organizations and communities. Today, promote progress in countries and the strengthening peace and mutual help and implementation of the international agenda in the interests of women. I would like to introduce our next speaker now, Zamira Bagisheva, President of the Congress of Women of Kyrgyz Republic, Secretary General of Business Incubators Union Innovation Centers of Kyrgyzstan. Zamira, could you please tell us about the activities you are working on in 30 years now? I am very happy that today we signed official memorandum between our community and the Congress of Kyrgyzstan Women to implement joint initiatives in the interests of women, especially within the framework of digital economy. The first brick is laid, so the floor is yours. Esteemed Chair, Ms. Rybych, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a song. It's great that we are all here, as a popular Russian song has it. All the ladies here who, in the interests of peace in the world and the society, want to make real things. And as the chair said, we signed memorandum on cooperation today. And this is the first step, as Confucius said, to to cover 1,000 li, you need to make the first step. So we made the first step today, and with colleagues from the Association Women in Nuclear Industry, we will articulate the roadmap. We have the first plans in this area. And since the Congress of Women of Kyrgyzstan is a mass organization, 500,000 members, and the key task for us is well-being of the society. We also have international status. The Congress of Women is member and participant of the first, second, and third Eurasian Female Forum. By the way, the chair of the Council of the Federation of the Federal Committee of the Russian Federation and the chair of the Eurasian Women's Forum was awarded with international, our Congress was awarded with International Recognition Award. So we've done a lot in 30 years. On the 28th of May, we will turn 30. I'm in our association, but I like the idea Gulnara articulated. Every country promoting gender equality is facing various challenges, but we need systemic approach for us to share skills and experience and understanding. Every country has its own cultural code and understanding of this problem. Kyrgyzstan today has a national program to achieve gender equality up to 2030. Also, national program for development of female entrepreneurship up to 2026. What does it mean? The priority of the Congress of Women of Kyrgyzstan is, first of all, development of and female participation in the economy. And this is a very important point. Why? Because we understood that before women are financially independent, as you understand, naturally, their voices are not heard, neither in families nor in the society. That's why women should actively participate in the economy. International experts calculated what contribution is made by women if they're actively involved into the economy. I just want to say that Kyrgyz Republic is located in the Central Asia and borders with Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, and China. And China is our strategic partner, as well as Russia for Kyrgyzstan. And neighboring China motivated us in participating and developing the textiles industry. Probably you've heard that there is a brand called Made in KG, and this brand is well known not only in the CIS countries but abroad. From Switzerland, for instance, some people brought dresses for their grandchildren, and the label said "Made in KG, Kyrgyzstan." So we invest our understanding into these activities. All Chinese Federation of Women, our partner, helped us in setting up a training sewing center, and they helped us to make it bigger. And today, because of sanctions imposed on Russia and foreign companies, international companies leaving Russia, Kyrgyzstan now is achieving a new level and export goods. 45% of export is textiles. This is our contribution. Why economy is so important in involving, attracting female leaders and women into innovative technologies. I would like to stress it again. When women are economically independent, they will have more opportunities to promote innovations and so on. Today, I like the approach of the chairman, Alexandra Vladimirovna, about what to do and what methods and mechanisms are necessary to attract women into innovative technologies. In Soviet times, we saw a lot of PhD ladies in chemistry and biology, agriculture and engineering sciences. But after we became independent country, we set up a lot of technical engineering universities in our country, but now we are thinking about more presence of women in this area. Green energy, optimization of energy balance. It was a very good discussion with Mr. Konstantinov. The chair also already mentioned him. He is ambassador of women in nuclear sector. You see him on the photo. So the Congress of Women of Kyrgyzstan is actively participating in creating power balance in Kyrgyzstan. So our task, from understanding that nuclear power can be hazardous or dangerous, our task is to go to the zone of peaceful nuclear energy. On the 22nd of December, this is the day of energy specialists, and the Congress of Women of Kyrgyzstan is always celebrating this day. And what do we need? In the national program to achieve gender equality, it is stipulated that all structures, offices that operate in Kyrgyzstan should participate in achieving a level and attract more women into innovative technologies. First of all, we're speaking about the government, of course, and the parliament, international organizations, various agencies under the United Nations, and also all private and public organizations and local organizations that can contribute on their levels of operations. Today, I would like to say the following. We are running propaganda for peaceful nuclear healthcare. Honored Doctor of Kyrgyzstan is here with us. Director of Oncology Institute, Ms. Sultan Gazieva, is here with us today. Let's welcome her. Partner of Rosatom Kyrgyzstan. We do a lot together, and thank you very much from delegation of Kyrgyzstan. We do a lot of work. Kyrgyz-Russia Female Business Forum is depicted on the photos. We have it as an annual event. You are all welcome. We will be hosting this event again. Please join us. We will show the achievements of women in Kyrgyzstan in this sector. So what personal invitation to Ms. Gül, representative of Turkey, and Bahire Gül is on the first row, director of Nutayk Energy, member of our International Council for Support of Women in Development of Industry and Technologies. Ms. Terentьeva articulated the tasks that are relevant for our community, and surprisingly enough, that all our achievements should be scaled up, should be implemented for us to be able to share our opinions and continue our work for peace for the whole planet among women, so that nuclear power to serve as something useful for the society. And the key thing for our interaction and our work is the words of Rosatom's head, Mr. Alexey Evgenyevich Likhachov, saying that nuclear should serve for the happiness of people. That's the key thing. And we work with this idea in mind. We live with this idea in mind. And when we start our lives, we think that we want to be happy. And that's why Mr. Inteva already mentioned that this is one of the most unique and large-scale initiatives of Rosatom, and we asked Gül to host us in Turkey and to look at Akkuyu, and I think Obninsk and other projects related to IAEA and you, Ms. Gulnara, and the roadmap that will be that already started in cooperation with Ms. Rybых. Together, I think we will do everything. And to conclude, I would like to say thank you very much to all participants and all members of the Society of Women in Nuclear Sector for your professionalism, for your leadership. We feel like home here. We feel so happy here, and we feel our sisterhood atmosphere, our cooperation, because we are all women and we're all sisters on this planet, and we all have the same concern: peace in the whole world. Thank you very much for your attention. I am the last presenter or not? No, actually, thank you. Let's applaud. Well, I like it very much that a lot of words of thankfulness towards each other were articulated. But the key thing is that a lot of joint initiatives are highlighted today. I always say that it's hard to moderate women's session because it's hard to check the timing, understanding the empathy and so positive atmosphere coming from all our speakers. But I'd ask our experts who are to speak after to stick to our agenda and our timing. Technologies are not possible without science. And the next expert, I'm happy to introduce her, Snezhana Payovich, Professor Molecular Biology, Director General of the Institute of Nuclear Research, Vinch. Snezhana, why today it is important that women work in science, and what is the contribution women are bringing into the scientific area, and what are the initiatives that are now underway in the institute you are chairing?
Thank you very much. Yes, it works. I'm very happy, and it is a really privilege to be with here in a very positive ambient. It is goes without understanding, because only women have a positive attitude generally to life, because it is the first conditions for survival and overcome all the problems in our life, and professional and private life also. I'm from Serbia, and we are very close, and I have to speak on the Serbian. Maybe you prefer to Serbian language because it is similar, but now I prepare some few slides on the English, and I can to speak Serbian on English. What is you prefer? It's from me all the same.
I would ask you to speak English.
Okay. Please, I have to change. Thank you.
А помогите нам, пожалуйста, переключать.
Could you please help us with the slides?
Next slide.
Yes, I wanted to say the brilliant mind and ideas is known through history, and I think it will be very nice from this occasion it mentioned a very famous woman through history because the invention and innovation and discovers it is no usual for some women. It is something revolution. For example, I first mention Marie Curie. It is for Institute for Nuclear Sciences Venture is very important because the founder, Professor Pavel Savic, have a close collaboration with France and with Marie Curie and his daughter. But Marie Curie is very famous because he's the first woman. Her work in the science, in the physics and the chemistry obtained 2 awards from a Nobel Prize in Physics and the Nobel Prize in Chemistry. But please, the first woman, 2 Nobel Prizes in our history. Science, it is no easy job. It is very complex, and who work in the science know we have a lot of very complicated situation, crisis, and we have to overcome that and forward in the best way, analyze the problems deeply, but in this way we become wiser and obtain the skills for the manage problems on the best way. And a second woman who is very famous through history is Margarita de Salas, Spanish scientist who discovered through her work important advances in human DNA, in genetic. Genetic is we know very important in different research fields today, and genotypization can obtain a lot of phenomena in different research fields. So we concluded the very key first key component on the human organism discovered the woman. Barbara McClinton discovered the process of transcription of genome elements and used it to explain how genes determine certain physical characteristics. Women also discover how, in what way, transfer properties from the parents on the children. Also, you must admit it is the crucial role of the genetic. Dorothy Cromford Hodgkin, she's a British chemist who developed protein crystallography, for which she was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1964. She proposed advances in technique of X-rays crystallography, a method used to identify the 2 3-dimensional structure of crystals. Analysis all crystals and use the X-rays in medicine also. We know how to useful and how look like its benefit. Rita Levi-Montalcini, Italian neurologist, he discovered the first known growth factor in the nervous system, research for which he was awarded the Nobel Prizes in Physiology and Medicine in 1986. I think this example show brilliant ideas, brilliant mind in the brain of the woman. It is something who is from the beginning of development of a human being is priority. But the nature is very perfect and have purpose from everything. We know about that. I analyzed for this occasion, very important occasion, how look like relationship between woman and a man in my institute. Next slide. Okay. Because I noticed in different research field, we have a little percent women and men. For example, generally, in the nature sciences, especially in the chemistry, physical chemistry, molecular biology, we have increased the percent of the women. But in the engineering and mathematics and engineering science generally, we have a decreased woman. My question is, in what way we motivated the woman to increase the percent in the engineering and mechanical, informatic, and the sciences, who is, I don't know, more like a man. I think the processing, learning is the first cause for that, because the molecular mechanism of processes and brain man and brain woman is completely different. Investigations show that the center for example, for the emotion and the center for organization and the more development in the woman in comparison with the center of organization and the center for emotion in a man brain. It is, I think, logical, and I mentioned nature is perfect because now the woman have to organize all the day. First day on the company, and when come back to home, start new days with new duty, and everything will be perfect finished. Okay, next. Okay. This is when we calculated, we concluded the total number in the Institute for Nuclear Sciences Vinci is 69% of the women and 31% of the men. The situation completely changed during 2 years. Before, it is no look like that. In the institute, increased of the men, but interest the woman for some research field, for example, for the physics, increased, and especially for the physical chemistry. I think these areas complicated and persistent of the woman. It is something very, very important for the solve new problems, new physical problems, because some basic problems in physics have a solution, but new problems is very, very high complicated. For example, Higgs boson and etc. Next, please. In this slide, I try to summarize why women's leaders is very successful because the anatomical and hormonal and neurotransmitter basic generally investigation in molecular biomedicine so that the woman brain bring a fresh perspective to the field of essential drive, therefore driving innovation and progress. The women have a lot of experience in backgrounds generally in life and approach to scientific problems is very unique, always leading to discover something new and some new innovation. Generally, I wanted to say the woman brain, because we have a lot of duty and we have to make priority and we have to make the compromise, has some kind of the training, and we have skills how to organize on the best way, and everything will be finished and everybody will be satisfied. For example, the woman played the role in the family as a wife and at the same time partner and organizer and the director in a company or in the institute, distributor, manager, and disciplinary. In addition, generally, women play key role in society economical development of the family. How to behavior children depends mainly of the mother, of the woman. A woman have to teach children very nice behavior and mechanism how to make a compromise. But psychological education for the woman also is very important. But I think this fact help women to be good leader. Next, please. The conclusion is the woman, the key to sustainable development and the quality of life in the family. Various role of women assume in the family of those of a wife, a leader, administrator, manager of family income, and most importantly, she was the best mother. But it will be best mother to own children. It is no easy. Especially, I have experience with the men because the psychological of the children sometimes is very complicated. We have to we have to estimate what is the best measure, how, in what way teach our children to nice behavior and how to make a compromise with a different person, but to stay satisfied. Next, generally, I would like to say the women who have a lot of experience, especially on the leader function, we can say is a really outstanding woman. She promotes the role models and very often she must be a mentor of a young woman. Because some women, especially young women, girls, I speak as a professor also. We lost the optimism. How to create a successful career? We to help and to support a young woman, and in this way we make the connection. Social capital generally in the society. It is a parameter and a fact who is very important for the economical stability and economical progress of society generally. Next, please. What is my message?
Снежана, будем очень просить завершать.
I'm sorry, but we're out of time.
Messages to young women. Science is like a life, a lot of challenges, but never stopped. You have to go forward and you overcome all the problems because in this way we stay bravely, we found a lot of skills, obtained deeply dimensions and analyzed the problems with the details and found the essence. All the life is very complicated, but after problems, after overcome all the problems, we'll be wise and happy. It is generally my message. Don't the fear of defeat win your wish for the successful. Thank you very much.
Снежана, благодарим вас за такой
Snezhana, thank you so much. This has been brilliant presentation, and the numbers that you presented, unbelievable. We now see that indeed women are in science, and there are a lot of them. And thank you for your emotions, because we see that you taken it close to your heart. Your position in life, I admire that, and thank you for that. And progress would be impossible without science development.
представить следующего спикера.
I would like to give floor to our next speaker.
Сообществ.
Let's talk about
Это Зарина Сайфиева, директор.
other things. Zarina Saifeva, Director of the Regional Educational Center, Chemical, Radiological and Nuclear Safety from Tajikistan, and President of the Women Nuclear Community. So, Zarina, could you please share what are your main areas of activity and what are the most bright examples, projects you can share, and what is most interesting for women? Well, thank you so much. Thank you for introduction. Indeed, I'm a director of the Regional Training Center. I'm also a president of the Hunumi Nuclear Women's Society. And today I would like to share my experience in what we do in Tajikistan. So could I have a presentation on the screen, please? Our national branch is part of the big agency on nuclear safety, and a lot of women are working in this agency. Next slide, please. We were founded on the 8th of March 2020, and we wanted to promote the role of women in science, scientific, political, social, economic and cultural life. What we want is to create the favorable environment for women's active participation in scientific, cultural, and social activity. We want to help women professionals to build their career. We want to exchange knowledge and share experience. We want to support that interest that women have for science and in particular nuclear technologies. And we also want to support women spiritually. Next slide, please. I would also like to say that, no, back, please. I would also like to say that the state policy of the Republic of Tajikistan is targeted at active participation of women and young women in different programs and technological projects. Women are involved in innovations and